Let's talk the cut. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk the cut. Woo!
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here in the Let's Talk the Cutler Virtual Book Club, the Let's Talk the Cutler YouTube platform, the Let's Talk the Cutler space where we spend 1,800 seconds together live and in living color every Tuesday. And it's always my pleasure, my delight to spend this time with you. I can't think of anybody with whom I'd rather spend this time on these Tuesdays. I've come to enjoy our time together. I've come to enjoy these moments. And so I hope you all are as well. Hey, I hope you all had a fantastic long weekend where we observed the birthday of the iconic Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I hope some of you got out and you did something that was, fulfilling and made the best of the day, something that was nostalgic on some parts, but that was worthy of celebrating and memorializing his life. And I hope that the month is moving along well for you all. It's moving along for me. I see some of you are on, but you're not open to the chat. So come on into the chat so I can acknowledge you and just say hi. And if, in case you're stopping by for the very first time and you're wondering what this guy's up here talking about, I've been doing this for 5 years now. So people stopping by, if you don't know, let me just remind you, it is always my hope to offer something that's encouraging, something that's inspirational, something that's motivational, and something that sometimes challenges us to show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Life is happening. God knows life is happening. It's happening all around the world. Things are going on. And we have so many opportunities to fall by the wayside. I'll put it that way. We have a lot of opportunities to fall and to fumble. But it's my hope that we spend these times talking. And as we're spending time talking, we realize that we can be intentional about our thoughts and intentional and deliberate about how we think and how we process things. Because when we are intentional, when we are deliberate about how we think and how we process, then it is my belief that we will be intentional about how we respond. And as you have often heard me say, it is how you respond that matters. It's how you respond that matters. So I hope that we have conversations whereby we learn to make sure that we don't respond in such a way that our character is called into question, or our who we are, our integrity has to be checked. It's just my hope that we have these conversations where it just becomes second nature for us to show up and respond the right way and do the right thing, whatever right is and how a right appears to be to you and your moral barometer. It's my goal and my hope that we're having conversations whereby we can take the conversation and apply it in such a way that we respond the right way. It is so, if I were in a Baptist church or in church, I would say, look at your neighbor and say, it's important how you respond. For those of you who may not know, a part of the Black church experience is this interactive dialogue and this dynamic where sometimes you are encouraged to reiterate the message by looking at the person to your left or to your right behind you. And sometimes the preacher will say, look at your neighbor and say X, Y, and Z. It's just a matter of reiterating and re-emphasizing the message at the time. So look at your virtual neighbor and say, how you respond matters. You can put that in the chat if you want to, but it is how you respond that matters. And we're going to talk about that because it makes all the difference. How many times have you ever been engaged in a situation or circumstance and you responded in such a way that by the time you walked away, you felt so defeated, you felt so deflated, you felt so disgusted with yourself, and you wish that you had a do-over where you can go back and get it right? Well, we talk here so we can process life in general. And as we can as we process that, thank you, Lotus Egyptian Flower. As we process life in general, it is how we respond that matters. And it's not always what other people think of you and think of your response. It's how you feel about your response. In 2026, I'm not so concerned about how I am concerned, but I'm not so concerned about how other people assess or evaluate or analyze my response. I'm more important with how I evaluate it, how I analyze it, how I assess it. It is important for me to walk away from a situation or circumstance just knowing that I responded as best as I could, knowing that I handled the situation as well as I could. It's not so important for me at this age and at this time of my life that that I'm not so guided by what other people think. I want to do right because doing right is a priority for me. A lot of times we want to do right to impress other people. We want to do right to garner the attention of other people. But how about doing right because it's just right to do right? Again, whatever right looks like for you, whatever that scenario, however it plays out for you. What about we get it in our core, in our souls to just do the right thing because it's just right to do right? Yeah, it's nice to be nice, but it's right just to do right because you feel right about doing right. All right. Yeah, I don't want to be the dead horse, but I want to get that across. Let's not do right just because people are watching. Your character is how do you respond when nobody's looking, when you are home alone and the blinds and the shades and the drapery are closed and nobody sees you but you, nobody hears you but you? How do you respond in those moments when nobody are looking, when no one is looking? How do you respond? That's what matters. Not that I do it so that I can be seen, so that someone could applaud me or compliment me or commend me. No, it's doing right because it's down in my soul to do right. I've taken off, and I haven't even asked you all to make sure that you invite people to tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because the man is really just trying to help save our lives. But I'm so serious, y'all, about doing right. That's important to me. Now that's how I live my life. It is important for me. It's important to me to do the right thing so that I can feel good about myself, so I can feel whole and complete and don't feel as if I have a hole somewhere in my soul where I feel the need to get back at people, to get a dig in there and to give people peace of my mind. No. That's not important to me. It's important for me to do the right thing so that Cutler feels right and feels good about how Cutler navigates the world, how Cutler interacts with people, how my words and my deeds have. It's important for me to do the right thing. I don't even know how I went there, but it is. Let me just thank those of you who've been with me, and I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs. Everybody, I should just say everybody this evening is a LTTC VIP, a very important person. You have the primary seats and the prime seats here tonight. To Annie Cutler, Linda Martin, Sonia Bailey, Yvonne Jones, McDonough, all of you all, Marissa, all of you, Lotus Egyptian Flower, everybody is a VIP tonight. So those of you who have not made your way into the chat, I see you. I see you on, but I don't see you individually in the chat. So come on in the chat. I want to see my friends. And I want to talk about how to agree to disagree. Woo! Cutler, really? Yeah, let me just go there. 2026 has begun. And how many of us, you don't have to put in the chats if you don't want to, you don't have to embarrass yourself, but whatever happens here in the chat stays in the chat until the other people read it, because it's going to be a social media, right? But listen, you all, how many of you have had disagree? If you don't mind being honest and transparent, as I often am myself, how many of you have already had some disagreements with people in 2026? I don't mean you had knockdown, drag out fights, but I mean you had conversations where you didn't always agree. You had conversations where you didn't see eye to eye. Sometimes you just had conversations where you thought it should have gone left, and the other person thought it should have gone right. How many of you have had conversations already in 2020, or you came into 2020? You came into 2026 already having conversations and positions whereby you were in disagreement with people. I know I have already disagreed with some people about some things in 2026. Already had some disagreements. I'm not going to tell you all the nature of the disagreements just yet, but I've already had some disagreements. How about you all? How many of you have already had some disagreements in 2026? And I want to address this because it really sets the tone. It really sets the pace for how the rest of 2026 is going. 2026. Color, can you get your words out tonight? Yeah. Because I'm in such a hurry to get these things out. I can tell you how you disagree is going to set the tone for 2026 and how the rest of the year is going to happen, how the rest of the year is going to unfold. I'm telling you, thank you for, I see it. One person say, yes, sir, I did. How many of the rest of you will be honest and say, yes, Cutler, I came into 2026 already having had some disagreements, or now that 2026 is here, I've had some disagreements already. I'm telling you, I need to raise both hands. I've already had some disagreements with people. I've disagreed about some fundamental things, but I'm not going to let it get the best of me. It's not going to erode my character. It's not going to eat away at my soul. Why? Because I've already learned and I understand how to agree to disagree. Let's just agree to disagree. We say that so often, you all, but do we really implement it? Do we really care about learning how to agree to disagree? Because if we learn how to agree to disagree, the world would be a better place. If that happened on every level, listen, we just respectfully disagree. We just respectfully disagree. Thank you. I see another person say, yep, I have. And so tell people to come on in tonight, because we're going to talk about how to agree to disagree, so that as the rest of the year unfolds, you won't find yourself running to a corner, wanting to be alone, and cover your head up and not get out of bed, keep your head under the covers and all that kind of stuff. No. Just come out from under the covers, and let's just talk, and let's just move and navigate life and navigate the world and do what we need to do. Let's not throw daggers at people. Let's not stab people in the back. No, let's just learn how to agree to disagree, and let's just do that. And I'm not even going to say let bygones be bygones, but let's learn how to disagree. So tell people if you know folk who just they get just caught up, and they don't know how to let things go. They don't know how to unravel. They don't know how to unfold. They don't know how to move along without being attitudinal and being caustic and irascible and all that kind of stuff. There are people like that. Every time you see them, they're upset about something. They're mad about this. They're disgusted about this. They're disgruntled. They're dismayed. They're just did something. And I want to talk about that, because how you show up today and how you be today may be how you are tomorrow, how you're going to show up tomorrow for the rest of the year. And I need you to understand that you are having an impact on those around you. You're having an impact on your internal physical health, your emotional well-being, your psychological well-being. Let's just learn how to agree to disagree. Let's just learn how. Thank you. I see another person. I had a moment with my mentor today. We were able to respectfully discuss each other's concerns, and by giving each other a virtual hug, all is well. I love hearing that, because I think it is so important. Let's just learn how to agree to disagree, because if we can do that, not only the world, but not only the macro cosmic world, but our microcosmic spaces, our individual spaces, so not just the big world, but our small spaces, will be a better place to live, a more peaceful place, a more harmonious place to live and to dwell, if we can just agree to disagree. And not say that, because some people say that, and I'm not trying to be funny, y'all, but some people say that, and they say it with this nice, nasty attitude. Well, we just agree to disagree. And then we just walk away treating people just nasty, all kinds of ways. Y'all know people who just sometimes, what we call in the South, not just in the South, it's just not a Southern thing, but sometimes people just nice, nasty. But I really honestly want to talk about how to disagree, how to agree to disagree, because it is about resolving conflict. Agreeing to disagree is about resolving conflict, but maintaining relationship. And unfortunately, so many times we don't know how to have that focus. We don't know how to resolve conflict, but maintain relationship. Why, Cutler? Because we end up throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Everything got to go. If I can't handle the conflict, I can't handle the relationship, and everything just goes right out the window. But when you can agree to disagree, that's a communication strategy that says, no, my relationship with you is important. We're going to resolve this conflict, but we're going to maintain this relationship. It is critical. It is crucial. How many of you all know maybe you yourself have sacrificed relationship because you can't handle or didn't know how to resolve or handle conflict? Unfortunately, a lot of us have. We've given up on relationships. We've thrown relationships. And I'm not talking about between lovers. I'm not talking about lovers' quarrels. I'm just talking about friends and siblings and acquaintances and business and just casual harmonious relationships we have with people. Sometimes we sacrifice those, threw them out the window with everything because we did not know how to resolve conflict while maintaining relationship. In fact, we didn't even think it was important. We didn't think the two could be done. But they go hand in hand. You can tear down, resolve conflict, and still maintain relationship. My friends, my acquaintances, my family members, we don't always agree on everything. But do you think I'm throwing away years of friendship because we don't agree on everything? Absolutely not. I would be an idiot for throwing away friendships over just one or two things on which we don't agree. No, in fact, all of my friends, we don't agree on 100%. We don't agree on everything. We have different perspectives and stances, opinions on things. And that's what makes us different. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us wonderful. That's what sometimes gives us an opportunity to talk about things so I can hear your heart and hear your mind, and you hear my heart and you hear my mind. And we broaden and we open ourselves to other perspectives. So there are some things that we can do to resolve conflict. There's some things that we can do to agree. That's what I'm talking about. There's some things. And if you know somebody who's always honoring, they just can't agree about anything, go and tell them, you got a few more moments. Tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler. Call them, send them the link to this, because we need to hear this. We need to hear, how do I agree to disagree? Because 2026 is just getting started. We got a whole 11 months to go, rest of this year. We have a political climate. We have social climates. We have emotional climates. We have financial climates. We have all of these things to navigate, and we're not going to agree on everything. But guess what? I'm not going to have a heart attack over it. I'm not going to have a stroke over it. I'm not going to have a nervous breakdown, not over the things that I can control, over the things where I can have an opinion and just decide that if we don't see eye to eye, we can just agree to disagree respectfully. And I'm not going to try to get the last word. I'm not going to try to get a dig in. No, I'm not going to do all of that. But I have a few things, you all, and I've categorized them. I have a few points, and I've categorized them in terms of things that we can do. And you all let me know if any of these resonate with you. If they speak to your heart, if they speak to your soul, if they speak to your mind, let me know if any of these really speak to you, because I'm concerned about how we sometimes get ourselves caught up in a tailspin and a downward spiral and find ourselves just emotionally fraught, frazzled, wrecked, because we don't know how to agree to disagree. So there's one category of some of the things that we can do, you all, whereby it means that we have to develop what I call a foundational mindset, and that's critical. That is so important. There are two things that fall within the scope of developing a foundational mindset, and I may have to come back to this and just reiterate this again. But one of the things that we need to do is to separate opinions from identity. Separate opinions from identity. Cutler, what does that mean? It means that you have to recognize that a person's views, just like your views and your opinions, they are shaped by their experiences. People's opinions, just like yours, people's opinions and their views are shaped by their background, by their history, by their experiences, by the things that they have navigated, the things that they have come through, the things that they have endured. Not only their experiences, but their cultures. People's opinions are shaped by their experiences and their cultures. So when somebody has a different opinion from you, it's not an attack on your character. A lot of times when I know siblings that don't talk today because they felt like what one said to the other was a personal attack on their character. And how many of us know that not even all siblings, I can have the same mama and daddy as you, but we don't always see eye to eye. I could be an identical twin, but we don't always see eye to eye. There are siblings, there are cousins, there are family members, there are friends, there are classmates, there are people who just feel like they've been personally attacked because somebody had a different opinion. And I thought you would at least see it my way. No, 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 that's not the way of the world. It's not the way of the world for us to see things eye to eye all the time just because we share similar spaces and similar circles. It doesn't work like that. A different opinion is not a personal attack on your character. I love the fact that some of my friends don't agree with me because I don't want yes friends in my life. I want friends who would challenge me. Cutler, no, that's not right. Cutler, have you thought about it this way? Cutler, there's a different perspective. Have you considered this? I love that because it does what? It opens my mind for new things, new possibilities, new opportunities. When people disagree with you, if you are objective, it opens your mind for other things. That is a growth mindset. And so one of the things that we need to do if we're going to resolve conflict, if we're going to agree to disagree, develop this foundational mindset that says, you know what, let me look at the foundation. Let me look at what's going on here. Let me look at what this person stands on. And you stand on your experience, you stand on your background, you stand on your cultural upbringing and surroundings. So remember, a different opinion is not an attack, a personal attack on your character. My mother has always said to me, and if there's one thing that I always hear, I hear her voice when I go into disagreements with people. One of the things that I hear my mother saying to me all the time is, baby, consider the source. She has always said that to me. When it comes to disagreements and sharing opinions, she says, consider the source. Consider the source. Separate opinions from identity. Look at people's experiences. That's what she's telling me. Look at people's experiences. I used to become frustrated because one of the things that I was trained, particularly going through law school, and one of my law school friends and classmates is on this platform this evening. One of the things that we are taught to do is to quickly assess the bottom line. You talk a whole lot. When you start talking a whole lot to us, we zone in to get the bottom line. And by the time we get the bottom line, excuse me, everything else becomes fluff. Not that it's not important, but we've got the bottom line. So for me, when I would listen to people and I got the bottom line, that was enough for me. So I could become easily distracted or just easily turned off by everything else that the person had to say. And I would sometimes become, I'm telling you all the truth, I'm being transparent, I would sometimes become impatient in a certain setting because I got the bottom line and I wanted to then respond with a line of questions. And my mother said, just consider the source. You everybody didn't have that same legal training as you. Everybody has not done what you have done. There are people, she will remind me, there are people who have done less and there are people who have done more. And so you have to consider the source. So that's one thing that I want us to do. Consider people's experiences when they're different from yours. There are folk that, listen, people in churches fighting because they don't understand people's experiences because they have not walked a mile in their shoes. Well, you know, I wouldn't handle this relationship that way if I were you. Well, you're not you. Well, I don't know that I would do this. You know, if it were me and I was carrying and I had this kind of sickness, I don't know that I would handle that. Well, you don't have that kind of sickness, and if you have that kind of sickness, you don't have the sickness that person has because you got your sickness, and he or she has his or her sickness. I'm telling you, we just have opinions about how we think everybody should do everything. We do. But learn to be open to the fact and the possibility that somebody's experiences are something that you have not had. I know I said a mouthful. Listen, and I'm just here talking. I'm still talking about how to develop a foundational mindset. We sometimes we sometimes form opinions about things that we have not experienced. I got to keep going. I know I said a mouthful. I've got to keep going. But when we learn, when we develop a foundational mindset that helps us to always be mindful of the fact that that person's opinions and views are shaped on his or her background, experience, and culture. Sometimes we think that we have the answers for everything, and I'm gonna use a double negative here. Sometimes we think we got the answers for everything, and we ain't got no answer for nothing. If the truth be told, Color, do you have an attitude? No, I don't have an attitude. but I've seen that so much in life, and we start espousing our views and opinions without respecting the fact that they are completely the opposite, antithetical to the other person's experience. I'm giving you my opinion without recognizing your experience. And what is an opinion if that opinion cannot grasp the other person's experience? I know I said a mouthful. I need to stop right here. What is the good of your opinion if you cannot grasp the other person's experience? What good is it? You can't agree to disagree if you can't open your mind to another's experience. Let me talk about something else. Just one more. I got 10 of these. I'm telling you, I might just talk about these because I need to come back to this next week because I want us to be able to resolve conflict and still maintain relationship. The other piece, y'all bear with me. I got a couple more minutes. I got 2 more minutes. So I'm talking about developing the foundational mindset so that we can agree to disagree. So the first one is, make sure that you separate opinions from identity. But the other piece is get rid of the need to win. I wish, again, if I were in a church setting, I would say, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, stop always trying to win. Why am I looking like I got a neighbor here? Ain't nobody in this office with me but me. But honestly, if you get a chance to put in the comment, just say, stop always trying to win. In 2026, stop always trying to win because effective communication emphasizes mutual understanding, mutual respect. And it does not recognize dominance, always trying to get the upper hand, always trying to get a dig, always trying to get a jab. No, not in 2026. Let that go. Because as long as you feel, can I say this, you all? As long as you feel like you need to win, let me tell you what's going to happen. And this ain't come from nobody else. This comes from my heart, my mind, and my soul. As long as you always feel like you need to win, guess what you're going to do? You're going to create a space to fight. I know I'm talking good. As long as you always feel like you need to win, guess what you're going to do? You're going to create a space to fight. Stop doing that. And then on one hand, we're talking about, they just don't understand me. No, if you always feel the need to win, you're always going to a wrestling mat because I feel the need to win. And then we walk away. No, I ain't trying to win. I ain't trying to fight over nothing. Yes, you are. Because internally, you're wired to win. And because you may be wired to win, you don't know how to call that thing back into control. You don't know how to control that need to win. So consequently, you create a space to fight. And maybe I just need to stop here. I think I'm just going to stop here. So how to agree to disagree, separate opinion from identity, look at people's background, and get rid of the need to win. I've only said 2 things this whole night, but I hope they're helping somebody. The year is going to unfold. And if you don't stop trying to win all the time, if you don't pay attention to other people's experiences, the year is going to unfold and you are going to be a miserable somebody. If you don't learn in January how to agree to disagree, you're going to be a disgruntled somebody. You're going to be a tight somebody. You're going to be an on edge somebody. You're going to be an unhappy somebody. You're going to be a miserable somebody. And you're going to be a somebody that nobody wants to be around. Color, you're saying some stuff tonight. I honestly hope I'm helping save somebody's life and helping us and helping our relationships. Because we always trying to get the upper hand. And if it's not you, you know somebody like that. And then don't subject yourself to that. Don't subject yourself to that. I'm trying to help us. The year is unfolding. I don't want us disgruntled. I don't want us unhappy. I don't want us miserable people. But you have often heard me say this, that we are on our way to a place and a space that is better. And better happens when you know how to communicate, when you know how to maintain relationship. And some of us don't know how, again, we don't know how to maintain relationship because we thrown out the relationship and the conflict that we can't resolve. I got to get up out of here, you all. Honestly, next week, we're going to continue this conversation. Do me a favor. Next week, I almost put out a number, said if we could just get 25, 30 people on live, get them, because we're going to talk about how to resolve conflict. And we're going to talk about how to agree to disagree and mean that thing. We say a whole lot of stuff. We said stuff, Cutler, you got to go. We said a whole lot of stuff in 2025 that we didn't do, a whole lot of stuff in 24 that we vowed to do, a whole lot of stuff in 2023 that we pledged we never would do. And here we are still doing some of the same stuff. We have not learned some stuff. But this year, we going to learn. Have y'all seen the movie Friday? We're going to learn today. But this year, we're going to learn how to agree to disagree. We're going to learn. Let's see. Let me just read these comments really, really quick. Say it louder for the people in the back that missed it. In a disagreement, I say I may be wrong, but this is my feelings now. And I love that. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about, stay tuned. Honestly, next week, go and get somebody and tell them, come on, let's talk to color, because the man's just trying to save our lives, y'all. Listen, do me a favor. Let's keep doing some of the things that we do. We're going to change some of the things that we do. But listen, let's keep doing these things. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's stay safe and stay sane. Keep your hopes up, keep your heads up, and keep your hopes up. And know that from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. I thank you all. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going to have part 2 or maybe part 3 if I don't finish it next week. But this is what we're going to take off, and we're going to take off and keep talking about this. But until then, do me a favor. Tell somebody else. Come on and let's talk to Cutler. The man is just trying to help save somebody's life. Good night. I'll see you all next week.